guys, welcome either to or back to my channel. So today I am going to be explaining to you how to change your hair color by working with the color wheel, so you don't have to re-bleach your hair. All you need to do is just, you know, touch up your roots whenever you feel like it, but there will be no bleaching involved in you changing your hair color. It's a very simple process. I've done it myself. I will explain the process that I went through. Obviously mine took place over the course of quite a long time, but you don't have to let it take this long. It was just as I was going through the colors, I just was like keeping it for a bit and then working my way towards blue, and I will also be working my way back to purple after this as well. You could also just go on to green if you really wanted to, but obviously that's up to personal preference. So firstly, I'm going to explain where I started. So obviously my whole head is bleached. If you're going for pastel colors rather than dark colors, because obviously the colors that I'm starting with, I started with Rich Eggplant, which is a color by Adore, which is a very red based purple. I started there, but you can always start, you know, in like the pink region, like orange, anywhere in that region. But obviously you're going to be working your way around. But like I said, obviously if you're starting in the darker shades, you're going to have to stick with them. If you're starting in the pastel shades and you're working your way around the pastel wheel, that's fine too. But obviously you can't go to dark after doing pastel and then expect it to just like switch back. Obviously you could let it fade out, that might work, but realistically in order to get yourself back to a pastel, you'd probably have to bleach your hair to a certain extent. So just bear that in mind. So in this scenario, if you're wanting to keep pastels, you're going to stay in that region. If you're staying at darks, stay in that region. Otherwise, if you're trying to switch between the two without letting possibly the darks fade a lot, almost completely out, you're gonna need some bleach, especially if you've got multiple layers of dark dye on your bleached hair. It's unlikely that it will fade back to a pastel. It might if you use lots of clarifying products, but I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. So for this scenario that I'm explaining, you've got to stick to one or the other basically. So yeah, when you think of the color wheel, it's sort of starting at yellow, going round to like orange, red, purple, blue, green, and then from green you go back to yellow. Obviously green to yellow you'd need some bleach, just to let you know, but obviously working your way around is easy. Working your way back is harder because once you start mixing certain shades it may end up going a bit brown, but what I've done is worked my way around the reds to the blues, not to the greens, but I could have made my way around there. So essentially what you're gonna do, and this is important to bear in mind, it's not just like you'll have red hair, you slap a purple on, it's going to be purple immediately. You may need multiple layers just to cover up the previous colour. So for me, what I did was, I did initially actually, funnily enough, I started with a red, kind of. So the colour that I started with, I'll insert a picture here if I can find one, but it was it was purple that I mixed far too much red into. Specifically it was a Manic Panic red. So I had a Manic Panic purple and a Manic Panic red, and I mixed them together and it came out very red, kind of almost faded to a pinkish colour. So I was starting pretty much at like the red region of the colour wheel. And so from that point, I dyed my hair with a colour called Rich Eggplant by Adore, which is a very red-based purple. Covered quite well just because of how red-based it is, but obviously you have to be prepared for the fact that it will pick up on those red tones. It won't come out like a true purple. It's likely to come out more red-based purple. So if you're wanting to kind of counter that, putting a more blue-based purple over the red initially should help speed that process along basically. So it should cover it better and it will come out more of a true purple rather than like a purple that's kind of a maroon, because that's the kind of situation that I was dealing with. I stuck with this colour for quite a few months. I really enjoyed it. That was just a colour that I wanted to do. And then after that, I did start mixing in blue with my purple. So what I was doing was I was using a crazy colour purple, which was called Hot Purple, I believe, but it was very much a blue shade. It didn't really show up as a purple. I was just mixing it in just to add some blue tones to that dye. So I did that and gradually processed it to more of a a bluish purple, not too much, but yeah. And then eventually I moved on to a shade by Adore called African Violet, which again, very blue based purple. Put that on, it kind of started to fade to a blue. So at that point, obviously I'm in the blue region, I'm very much in the purple region. Purple is the base color pretty much of my hair at this point. That's when I started using Dark Violet by Lunar Tides, which again, very blue based purple. It just doesn't fade immediately to a blue, which, you know, it doesn't really matter if that's the case, because obviously if you're trying to achieve a purple that's going to fade to a blue isn't going to affect you, obviously, because that's kind of your end goal. But at that point my goal was purple, so I was using Dark Violet. It was a really nice color, really nice purple. It's a blue based purple, but I didn't find that it faded to a blue. It sort of just stayed purple, which was great, and it wasn't a red tone. So essentially at this point, because of the amount of layers of dye that are on my hair, the red is essentially gone. Like it's not like as I was washing it the red was still peeking through. So what's important to remember is that if you're wanting to go very quickly from one color to another, what's best to do is honestly just put one layer on of dye. So if you're going from red and you want it to be purple and like a blue based purple, put a blue based purple on it, let it sit, wash it out, and then put another layer on after that. Direct dyes obviously is what I'm talking about. That's the quickest process you can do. What I did was very gradual, so it covered the colors better because I was doing it so gradually, and obviously there's a lot of layers in between. And then from there I used a shade by Arctic Fox called Sorceress. Now it was a blue, but it had purple tones in it, which was a good transition between purple and blue, to be completely honest with you. But if I wanted to, I could have just put a blue straight on top of it. It would have been fine. But this blue just was not particularly an opaque blue. Like I think it was maybe a bit thinner than another dye. So when I put that on, it didn't cover the purple very well. You could see it peeking through. To be honest with you, in certain lighting, you can still see the purple peeking through my hair now, just because there's not that many layers of blue on there. It's only like 2. So this Sorceress color, like although my root area was kind of blue, the rest of it was like just like a bluey purple. Like it wasn't, I like to refer to it as a blurple because I thought it was kind of a cute combination of the colors, but essentially yeah, like you could see the purple peeking through. And then after that I used Lunar Tides Dark Shadow, which was a really dark blue, really nice blue, but it did cover it. It covered it pretty well, so it got rid of sort of the initial purple undertones that you could see. But I won't lie to you, I'll put a clip here. In the sunlight you can still see like the ghost of my purple hair, so just bear that in mind. Obviously again, like there was only really one actual layer of a true blue color over it, so you do sort of just have to deal with the fact that as your color fades, especially if you've not done that many layers over the initial, like the previous color, like the previous purple or whatever, it will show through a little bit just as it starts to fade. And then this color is Blue Velvet by Lunar Tides, and to be honest at this point you can't really see the purple like really at all. Like there is a hue of it, but obviously as I've said, there's only really 2 layers of blue on my hair. I think a third one would pretty much cover it all, but just as a pointer for you, something to bear in mind if you're doing this, multiple layers is the key basically. So for me, from now, obviously I could go to green easily, I could go to green, can't go to yellow. Just to really make that clear, yellow would require bleach. That would require a lot of bleach probably, considering how many layers of dye are on my hair. But yeah, I could easily go to green, but I'd prefer to go back to purple just because working my way back from green to purple would be kind of difficult, just out of fear that honestly my hair would go brown or like a really muddy color. So yeah, I'm going to be going back to purple, which is quite easy to backtrack from blue, go back to purple. So that's what I'm going to be doing personally. But obviously you do just have to bear in mind that now that there are a lot of layers of color in your hair, it's obviously going to be hard for you to, if you wanted to go to a yellow, for example, it's going to be kind of difficult. If you wanted to backtrack and go all the way back to like a red, for example, you're going to need some bleach. It's going to be a lot harder for you to do. Obviously, if you're going to be doing a dark red, making your way back there, you might be able to do it, but I would assume it would just sort of come out kind of a maroon. Never say never, you might be able to do it. The darker the color, like the more opaque that color is, the easier it will cover the previous color. But obviously you just have to bear in mind, like, you can't just go straight from like a green to like a red. their opposite on the colour wheel as well, it will just make a muddy colour. Like it's gonna come out like a bit brown. You do just have to make sure that you're not mixing colours. It's why you need to work your way around it as opposed to just jumping from one to another. Just something you have to bear in mind with this technique is that because of the amount of layers in your hair of colour, it's, you know, it's going to be very hard for you to go platinum or blonde or whatever. So you just have to, you know, bear that one in mind. I really hope that this helped. I hope this made sense. I hope that this gave you an insight into a way that you could, you know, keep your hair healthy and only have to sort of bleach your root area when you feel like it, rather than, you know, bleaching your hair every single time to like a clean slate so you could put a different color on it. Like I said, this is very much for people like me, where I want to just like stick to kind of a specific color scheme, and I'm not too fussed about trying to get my hair blonde. That's not going to be me, I don't think. I hope this helped. Vlog is on the way, by the way. I didn't know really what to make. Please leave any video suggestions of things that you want to see in the comments, because again, my most popular videos are to do with hair, so if you have anything where you want me to do a video explaining something to do with hair, I'm happy to. I did consider doing outfits and stuff, but no one really seemed that interested in the thrifting aspect of things, so maybe I'll do them, maybe I won't, I don't really know. Like I said, vlog is on the way. I'm starting a new job next week, so that'll be nice where I can like show my outfits and stuff for work, so I could do like a lookbook or whatever, and also then I can just like do fun little vlogs of my work week, because obviously my current job is boring, no one wants to watch that. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful, and I really hope to see you in my next video.